tough guy Mike Tyson comes out when it's not necessary to come out, I'm always handcuffed. And all do it's unfortunately I have to fight and be that guy. I wish I could stop that guy. That guy haunts me.
Jake Paul just got a brutal reality check. And it wasn't from a pro boxer, it was from the one and only Mike Tyson. After endless delays, accusations, and Jake's antics wearing thin, Tyson had enough and unleashed. But here's the kicker. This showdown wasn't just about fists. It became a battle of ethics. While Jake's being hit with steroid accusations and backpedaling hard, Tyson's revealing wild, mind-blowing secrets from his own training. What set Tyson off? And how is Jake handling the heat? Trust me, this isn't just another fight hype. It's a meltdown you won't forget. Welcome to the channel, where the wildest celebrity drama takes center stage. If you're ready for shocking scandals, jaw-dropping revelations, and all the messy behind-the-scenes moments they don't want you to know about, you're in the right place. From Hollywood meltdowns to explosive feuds, we've got all the dirt. Trust me, every episode leaves you wondering, what just happened? So, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss a single twist in these celebrity sagas. Let's rewind to where it all started. Jake Paul. For those of you who somehow missed the last few years of Jake Paul's internet rampage, this guy is not your average boxer. He first blew up on YouTube, pulling off outrageous pranks, stirring up controversy, and basically building a career out of being the guy everyone loves to hate. But somewhere along the line, Jake decided to hang up his prankster hat and step into the boxing ring. But wait, this wasn't just some hobby for Jake. Oh no, he decided to go all in, calling himself the future of boxing and declaring that he was going to take on real fighters, knock them out, and cement his place in boxing history. The only problem: most of Jake's victories have been against either influencers or retired athletes, not exactly prime competition. His most famous wins came against the likes of Nate Robinson, a former NBA player, and Ben Askren, a retired MMA fighter who clearly wasn't in his prime anymore. Jake's rise in the boxing world has been fueled by one thing: controversy. He thrives on it. Whether it's calling out Floyd Mayweather or trolling UFC fighters on Twitter, Jake knows how to keep people talking. And you know what? It's worked. Love him or hate him, you're paying attention. And that's exactly what Jake Paul wants. Now, on the other side of this story, we have Iron Mike Tyson. If you're a boxing fan, or honestly, if you've ever turned on a TV, you know who Mike Tyson is. This man wasn't just a boxer, he was a wrecking ball. During his prime, Tyson didn't just beat his opponents, he destroyed them. His knockout power was legendary, and he quickly became the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history at the age of 20. Tyson's career, though, wasn't just about his ferociousness in the ring. It was also packed with headline-making controversies. From his infamous ear-biting incident with Evander Holyfield to his legal troubles outside the ring, Mike Tyson has lived one of the most tumultuous lives in sports history. But through it all, his status as a boxing icon has remained untouchable. After stepping away from the sport in 2005, Tyson seemed ready to hang up his gloves for good. He retired after a loss to Kevin McBride, a fight where it was clear Tyson's body and mind were no longer in sync with the warrior he once was. But legends never really retire, do they? Fast forward to 2020, and Tyson dusted off his gloves for an exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr., reminding the world that even at 55, he still had the moves that made him a household name. So, how did Jake Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer, end up on a collision course with one of the greatest fighters of all time? It started like most things in Jake Paul's world, with trash talk. Jake isn't afraid to call out anyone, and in this case, he set his sights on Tyson. Now, you'd think Jake might hesitate before poking a bear like Mike Tyson, but that's not Jake's style. He went all in, declaring that not only could he beat Tyson, but he could retire him for good. The audacity, right? The internet was torn. Half of the people were laughing at Jake's overconfidence, while the other half were getting their popcorn ready, waiting to see if Jake could actually back up his bold claims. But here's where things started to get messy. As the fight build-up progressed, there were constant delays, rescheduling, and rumors swirling that the match might not even happen. Jake, in classic fashion, started tossing out accusations. He claimed Tyson was dodging the fight, hinted at bribery, and even threw around the idea that Tyson was using performance-enhancing drugs. Yes, Jake Paul, the guy who built his career on controversy, was now accusing a boxing legend of shady tactics. For a while, it seemed like Tyson was going to stay quiet. He's a legend. After all, why waste time responding to a YouTube star's antics? But then something changed. Tyson snapped. In an explosive interview with Joe Rogan on The Joe Rogan Experience, Tyson finally let loose. He didn't just clap back at Jake's accusations. He destroyed them. Tyson accused Jake of being a fraud, and most importantly, he dropped the bombshell that Jake might be using steroids. Think about that for a second. Jake Paul, the guy who's been touting his intense training and hard work, was now facing accusations that he'd been cheating his way to the top. And the person making the accusation? One of the most respected names in the sport. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Jake's antics anymore. This was about whether or not he had any real integrity as a fighter. Let's dig into this steroid accusation. In today's sports world, performance-enhancing drugs are always a hot topic. We've seen athletes from all fields, baseball, cycling, even the Olympics, get caught up in drug scandals that have tarnished their legacies. So when someone like Tyson, a man who's been in the sport for decades, accuses you of using steroids, it's not something to brush off lightly. Jake, of course, went straight into defense mode. He denied the accusations, calling them baseless and part of a smear campaign against him. But the damage was already done. People were starting to question whether Jake's rapid rise in the boxing world was really the result of hard work, or if he'd been cutting corners all along. And here's the kicker. While Jake was busy trying to clear his name, Tyson was out there giving one of the most bizarre interviews of his life, dropping some wild revelations about his own training. If you thought Tyson's comeback fight against Roy Jones Jr. was wild, wait until you hear this. During his interview with Joe Rogan, Tyson revealed that he'd been using DMT, a powerful psychedelic, as part of his training regimen. Now, if you're unfamiliar with DMT, it's not something you typically hear about in a conversation about professional sports. DMT is known for its intense, mind-altering effects. People who take it often describe seeing vivid hallucinations, having out-of-body experiences, and even feeling a connection to the universe itself. So what was Tyson doing with DMT? According to him, it wasn't about getting stronger or faster, it was about mental clarity. Tyson said he'd been using the psychedelic to help him reconnect with himself, shed the mental weight he'd been carrying for years, and get into peak physical and mental condition. This wasn't just some fitness fad. This was Tyson going on a full-blown spiritual journey to prepare for his comeback. But the contrast couldn't have been clearer. On one side, you had Jake Paul, a man accused of taking steroids and using shortcuts to boost his performance. On the other side, you had Mike Tyson, using natural, albeit unconventional, methods to clear his mind and body. It wasn't just a fight between two boxers. It was a battle between two completely different mindsets. And how did Jake respond to all of this? Well, predictably, he went full victim mode. Jake jumped on social media, posting about how Tyson's accusations were part of a larger plot to take him down. He painted himself as the underdog, a young, hard-working fighter, just trying to make his mark while being unfairly targeted by a boxing legend. But here's the problem. Jake's fanbase wasn't buying it. The steroid accusations were sticking. And even though Jake denied everything, the questions wouldn't go away. Was Jake Paul really the future of boxing? Or was he just a YouTube star trying to cheat his way into the sport's elite ranks? At this point, the fight isn't just about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. It's about the future of boxing itself. With celebrity matches becoming more and more common, the sport is facing a new era where entertainment value sometimes overshadows athletic skill. For boxing purists, this fight represents a crossroads. Should boxing stay true to its roots, or should it evolve into a spectacle-driven sport where anyone with enough followers can throw on some gloves and jump into the ring? Tyson's fans see this fight as a battle for the soul of boxing. It's not just about defeating Jake Paul, it's about proving that the sport still has integrity. On the other side, Jake's supporters argue that boxing needs to evolve, that it's time to bring in new fans and new fighters, even if that means shaking up the traditional structure of the sport. So what's next? Will this fight actually happen? Or are we witnessing the biggest hype train in boxing history derailing before it even leaves the station? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, this story isn't over yet, and we're going to be watching every step of the way. Thanks for joining us today on the channel. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Tyson vs. Paul madness, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any future episodes. We're always here to bring you the juiciest celebrity drama and the stories that everyone's talking about. See you in the next one.